This video is all about ghost stories. Follow me to the north of the Netherlands. Welcome to Groningen. Groningen is a province in the northeast of the Netherlands. It borders on the North Sea, and like much of the country, it is very flat. Most of it lies below sea level, so it comes to no surprise that this landscape is full of moorlands, fog, and ghost stories. Today we will focus on two ghostly entities, the White Lady and the Ghost Dog. Imagine you're at the pub or your local bar and you look around yourself and realize you're the last guest and also you're pretty loaded. So it's time to go home. And that means literally go home, because at this time of night in the area you live in Groningen, there's no means of transportation except your own 2 feet. So you start your way back home to the farm where you live with your family. You take the shortcut. You try your best to stick to the path in front of you, but the path is very narrow and you are pretty loaded. You see how the fog creeps over the meadows and finally realize how cold it is. You start to shiver. You stumble ahead. A little undignified, granted, but you concentrate really hard on not falling. So you focus on putting one drunken foot in front of the other. And then you hear it, the patter of tiny little paws. You stop. Did I just hear that? But now there's silence, so you resume walking, and then you hear it again, the patter of tiny paws. So slowly, very slowly, you look behind yourself, and there it is, a tiny black dog looking up at you all friendly, wagging its little tail. But something in the eyes unsettles you. This dog is eerie, and you think to yourself, this is fairy tale stuff, this is nonsense. So you decide to solve the situation by ignoring it. So you resume walking, and the patter continues. But this time, it doesn't sound so tiny anymore. You sneak a quick glance behind yourself. Sure enough, there is the black dog, but it is mid-sized now. Now you really get spooked and walk faster, and the patter follows you. And now it sounds like a big, heavy dog. You really don't want to look, but you cannot help yourself. So you look again, while walking briskly, and there it is, the black dog. It is huge now. And you start running, and the patter follows you. But now it doesn't sound like patter anymore. It sounds like stomping. Frightened, you don't pay attention to the path anymore. And so you stumble and fall over a little rock. Hastily you stand up, and then you feel it. 2 giant paws on your shoulders, and then everything turns black. Some say that these dogs have masters, or to be precise, mistresses, the White Ladies. So let's talk about the White Ladies of Groningen. In a hot summer's night, a farmer was working in his apple orchard because it was too hot to work during the day. So he was in his apple orchard, and when he looked out into the meadow next to his trees, he saw them, a group of white ladies, walking gracefully over the meadow, barely touching the grass. It was a beautiful sight. Except for one. This particular white lady was the last one of the group. She was stumbling behind her ghostly companions, and this was a rather awkward sight. The farmer thought, is she drunk? He thought, a self-respecting ghost lady shouldn't stumble around like my uncle after 12 Geneva. She's ruining the whole magic of the moment. But the farmer was no ass. He thought, maybe I should help her, maybe I can help her. So he drew closer, and that is when he saw that this white lady was tripping over the hem of her dress. And that is when he heard her voice. He stopped, because he knew that it is very rare to hear the voice of a white lady. I mean, she's a ghost after all. And this is what he heard her shout. My freaking burial gown is too bloody long. The next night, the farmer saw them again. And again the white ladies walked gracefully over the lush meadows, except for the one with the ill-fated dress. When he heard her curse, the farmer decided to step in. He grabbed the scissors he needed for his apple trees, and with averted eyes he very slowly approached the stumbling lady. She stopped, and then he very slowly, very gently grabbed the hem of her gown and cut off a good length of it. And then he dared to look up. And what he saw was a feisty little ghost woman who beamed at him with a radiant smile. The next moment she was gone, running after her friends, light on her feet, with grace and finally free. The farmer had a good harvest that year, and all the years as long as he lived. Many of the stories about white ladies predate Christianity, and the interpretation of these stories were altered after monotheism conquered pretty much every corner of Europe. Therefore, it is difficult to say what these white ladies meant to the people who first saw them. But let me run with one theory. The word white, or wit in Dutch, or weiß in German, is phonetically pretty close to the word wise or wisdom. So white ladies could be interpreted as wise ladies, women of wisdom. So your local witch, herbalist or shaman, which you consulted with your worries that you couldn't handle yourself with hard work, stoicism or plain violence. Let's say you or your loved ones fell ill and didn't get better. Your crops didn't grow, or you saw something suspicious in a corner of your eyes, and then you saw it again, and you started asking yourself, am I losing my mind, or is it a curse? Didn't the baker give me a funny look the last time I went there? Or is my neighbor jealous that my crops, my husband, my wife, my kids turned out better than his or hers? Or did you just simply wanted to know the future? In all these cases, you got your sweet behind to the local witch or wise woman and told her about your issue. And she would listen to you and think of the best solution. Maybe bed rest, a herbal remedy, a good talk, or wise words like, don't be a p***y, it's not even the Middle Ages yet. Something in that line of thought. So she did her best to help you and the community to the best of her abilities. And if she did a good job and the village was smart, they worshipped her even after she was dead. Because it was known that wise women stayed on after they died and became spirits bound to the area they used to live in. And if you encountered the ghost of a white lady and were courteous and treated her with respect, she would help you. But if you behaved like a she would treat you in kind. And when it gets dark and you climb up a hill in the region of Groningen, or even better a cemetery, and you look into the misty night, you can see her in the white gown she was buried in, walking through the neighborhood, keeping watch and having fun. Fun? Well, fun because it is said that these ghostly ladies, these spirits, were into having a good time, from dancing through the fields to having tea parties in the meadows. And if you are in the region of Groningen and you see wisps of fog dancing over the earth, you can say you saw a white lady, because this is what they call this phenomenon in the north of the Netherlands. The capital of the region Groningen is also called Groningen, and this little university town is well worth your visit. When you're there, you get the perfect mixture of Dutch architecture and laid-backness without being overrun by fellow tourists. You can leisurely walk through this beautiful town, rest in one of the lovely cafes. This is a university town, so they have a lot of really nice cafes. Shop at the local market, or grab a beer and a snack in one of the pubs. What makes Groningen really special is that this northern town is chill as F. So if you find yourself in the Netherlands, let's say Amsterdam, hop on a train, go to Groningen, make a day or a weekend trip out of it, and you will have a lovely time. And maybe when it gets dark and the fog starts creeping into the city, you see a lady in a white gown and her black dog. Be respectful, keep your distance, and you will be just fine. I hope you enjoyed the story of the black dog, the white lady, and the city of Groningen. Next time I take you to a different place with a different story. Thank you very much.